welcome to another episode of the Suzie Wokabi podcast. So glad to be back. It's been a bit of a break, and we're here at the fabulous Chesonia interviewing my BFF. What do I call
Literally
you?
BFF.
That's only our name for each other.
Literally, yes.
So,
and it's been there forever.
for such a long time. This beautiful, amazing woman,
Thank you.
has done so much for the fashion industry. Okay, a lot in Kenya and Africa and abroad. So that's why she's sitting here, because I need the world to recognize and to understand all the amazing things. She's the definition of fashion in Africa.
Thank you.
So we're going to let them know why.
Amen.
And where it all started and where it's going.
Good thing.
Miss Connie Award.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. And I know it's a bit too late, but Happy New Year and Happy Valentine's. A bit of both.
You got it right. Because it's the month of love.
Yes, the month of love.
Yeah,
yes. Where is your red?
In my heart. And here. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Exactly. Cool.
So, are you a month of love person?
I am. It's every day is a day of love, not even a month. Every day is a day of love.
Oh, I forgot to say, the most eligible bachelor on the continent as well.
Oh,
a bachelorette. The most eligible bachelorette on the continent. Have I made you shy?
Yeah, very.
I'm so glad. So let's get into it.
Cool.
I want them, and maybe there's some stuff I don't know. Where it all started. Born and raised.
Wow.
Let's start there.
Okay. Born and raised in Nairobi. I'm a last born, 3 girls.
Aren't we just the best?
Yeah, last borns rock.
We really are the best.
My parents have been very liberal and supportive. They're in industries that have nothing to do with creative.
Yes.
My dad's a doctor,
yes,
as you know, so nothing to do.
He just celebrated a birthday.
80! Happy birthday, Daddy, again.
Birthday. What a blessing.
I know, thank you.
Good job.
And thank you.
Last born.
You know, we've taken care of my daddy.
You've done some things.
Thanks. And my mom's, in the whole judiciary. She's been a judge in Kenya internationally. So it's very different. Justice
if you guys have lived under a rock.
Thanks. So it's been, just growing up, went to Valley Road Primary. I went to the best high school in Kenya High School. Bomarians, shout out.
Bomarians are so proud of
Shout out to my Bomarians. And then after that, I started off at Evelyn College of Design here.
Oh my God.
Yes, I started off here. Then
how was that?
How was that?
It's that is like a landmark.
Yeah.
Right? In the fashion industry
in the fashion,
in Kenya,
yeah.
Which is no more.
Yes, I guess because of COVID and all,
yes, and for the greater good, actually.
Yeah, but for the time we were there, we had students from all around Africa.
Yeah.
And it really taught me about the beginning of, what fashion means.
Is that where you went after high school?
Yes, fantastic. Immediately after high school, I went to Evelyn College of Design.
Wait, did you know? Like, when
I've
you were
always,
up,
ever since when my mom used to go for a lot of like national, celebration days and parties. So all I did just to sit at her, when she's getting dressed, I sit on her bed and I watch her. And then I was always in trouble because I used to take her to nail polish and play with it and do stuff. So it's already a sign.
Yes.
But even in high school, the Kenya High, again, I'll say, I had an art teacher, Mr. Okanga. Shout out to Mr. Okanga. And of course, my parents used to come for, the Parents Teachers Day. They go into the science, biology class, 1 second they're out. Chemistry, less than a second.
Yeah.
Physics.
Physics, forget
Maths, it's not even 2 minutes. Yeah, but then when you go to the art room, they used to stay there like for an hour because Mr. Kanga used to say there's something in this young girl, nurture, this talent. She's always drawing figures of women in clothes. So from there, we knew, my parents are like, we need to nurture this talent.
So it started there.
Yeah,
and
started there and watching my parents dress. And then they like to dress well. So it's a lot of influences. And then my sisters also,
family of girls.
Yeah, family of girls. They also like good things. So I guess it kind of, and from there started off. Then went to Evelyn College, did that.
How long?
2 year. Was it a year and a half? 2 year course.
Nice.
And then moved on now to New York, the Fashion Institute of Technology, FIT, 27th and 7th, FIT alumni.
FIT.
Yes.
So I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else that went there. It was such a fantasy of mine. My sister lived in New York and she worked in fashion, and I was like, after you was even like flirting with, what if I go to FIT to get into this fashion story?
Yeah.
But here I ended up in beauty. So here we are.
Which is still amazing.
Yeah. So FIT, tell me about that.
So that was, wow.
So getting in, was it easy?
I sent my portfolio from Evening College of Design. They accepted it.
Fantastic.
But getting there, I remember, my sister Sandra was going to NYU and I was going to FIT. So I remember she dropped me, because I was living with her. She dropped me at the what do you call it, the entrance.
Uh-huh.
She's like, okay, see you later.
Bye.
I was like, what do you mean see you? And you're going to take me to class.
Yeah,
she's like,
walk me.
She's like, this is not Nairobi, honey. This is New York. You got to learn to be independent. So I'm like, how am I supposed to find my class? She said, you'll figure it out. She's like, I have class too. And she went off.
And
I was about to cry. I was just like, you're coming from a shelter. You're like 18 or and a half or 19. You're young. You go into a big city. I remember I just stood there and I'm like, holy schmoly, what? So I was like, do I cry? I'm like, no. Then I just asked, the security. They're like, okay, go to the, and I figured it out.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's what it's been about this whole journey. That was the beginning, that lock-in of figuring stuff out.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So how was that journey inside of FIT? What was that like?
It was fun. Made new friends from all around the world.
I can imagine.
And then so I did my undergrad there. Mm-hmm. And then
what was is that a major?
Yeah, everything was in fashion design. And then for my bachelor's, I did a 1-year study abroad program in Italy in a school called Polimoda in Florence.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I speak Italian also.
Yeah.
So it was fun and I made new friends. And then I had the whole Italian experience of ciao bella, tutto bene, come va, a lot of cosa facciamo domani.
Oh my gosh,
I mean, it was just, that was that. And
so are you actually, you're a designer? You draw?
I actually studied design. I can draw, I can design, I can stitch. But that I realized, when I finished and came back to Kenya, I realized my strength is not in the sewing because
there's enough people that.
First of all, there were a few incidences when we had to do projects and I remember some girl almost put the pin into her hand. You're tired and fashion is a beautiful industry, but it's intense.
It is.
It's deadlines. You're working late. So I remember one point I was on a machine at midnight. I'm like, no, this is. I mean, I'm going to be in fashion, but not necessarily in design.
And that's, I think, really important for everyone in whatever industry you're in to just figure out your
to know
niche
your strength and your niche exactly
and fix that
exactly.
You did that so well.
Yeah.
So you left. You didn't need to do the seamstressing.
Yeah. But the good thing is, I did everything. So I understand about textiles. Like I can tell you that fabric. Don't wear it if you're going to do a shoot in Mombasa because you're gonna sweat. I know. We did when you burn a fabric how it smells. So I know a lot of background about fabrics.
Even maybe what fits better on a different body type.
Exactly, all that.
Itself, right?
So the whole background and then history of fashion, all that I did.
Yeah, perfect.
So then I finished.
Florence was inside of FIT.
Yes, still a FIT program, like a 1-year study abroad program.
Nice.
So I came, then I finished my fourth. Because I remember at some point when the year was done, now we had to go back for our final year in New York. So I telling my mom, I don't think I want to go back. Oh, she's like, oh, you need to go back and finish. Yeah, because some of my friends remained and they never went back.
And so they didn't graduate or what?
I don't know.
They
remained. Yeah, so my mom was like, you need to finish. Yeah, so went back. Yeah, finished. I'm glad I did. And then came back to Kenya. Yes.
Now, did you ever live abroad again?
So wait, the story goes on.
All right, because I think there's more.
So, but what was really important during that time was I got to do a lot of internships. So I got to work backstage at New York Fashion Week. I got to go for, those Tommy Hilfiger parties. I worked for Alec Work. I mean, I had, I had a pass to all these private fashion parties. I think for me, that's the best privilege of working because I did many internships, but the last one that I did, and I still keep in touch with my boss, was Audrey Smalls. Wow. So everything about backstage management, she taught me about how to produce a show. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how God works. It's amazing because that's what I'm using now, and we'll get into it later on as to what I'm doing now in Kenya.
Can you imagine?
There's
a bucket that you're filling.
Exactly.
It's not for nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did that,
So you did way more than because when I was in my New York days, when I was in beauty, getting a job backstage at like Fashion Week or whatever.
Yeah,
you're doing getting a free job.
Yeah.
You're lining up after like 50 people
Wow.
to touch backstage.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go on.
So then we're like, okay, so I finished, I graduate.
So you came home?
No, well, I didn't want to come home.
Oh.
I was like, so I did an internship. I worked with Audrey. I continued. So, then my, visa is about to run.
Right.
So my mom called and said, your father is coming to New York. I was like, uh-oh.
To pick you up.
Yeah, because when you hear that, I was like, uh-oh. So he comes. He's like, yes. So he's like, okay, now you're finished.
Yeah.
We need to go. I was like, oh man. And that was it.
Well, you literally picked up.
Yes, literally. Because when my mom calls and says, your father is coming, you're like, oh boy, it's either you're in trouble or it's coming to you. So he's like, no, we need to be realistic. If you're not working here and your visa is running out, you need to leave, because you'd never want to be in a position where you can't come back to America because you had your documentation.
Paperwork.
And that's the best advice he ever gave me.
For sure.
He's given me a lot of, but in hindsight, I'm like, going back now, and I went back in a big way, and I'll explain later. So come back to Kenya. So I'm twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, what the heck?
So you came just like fresh?
Yeah. I mean, your father is saying you need to come back to Kenya.
No prior meetings to set stuff up.
I had to come back. I came.
Okay.
So I call, so it's interesting. I remember, so when my mom calls and says, your father is coming, I call my sister Angela. She's like, oh, you know what that means? I was like, man. She's like, you're going back home. It's a code we have with my sister. It's a sister code. So I come back to Kenya and I'm like, what am I going to do? And back then, there was, there were no magazines. There's nothing. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh my God.
So then I was like, okay, fine. I was like, okay, fine. I need to go and look for work within Africa. So I flew to South Africa for Joburg Fashion Week.
Okay.
I went, I networked. I was like, I just got tickets.
So you just took yourself there?
Yeah. Because I was like, I need to figure out something. Because Kenya at that time was still very young.
Yeah.
So I went, I networked, and I met someone who met someone. When they came back to Kenya, they sent an email. They're like, look, Cosmopolitan Kenya is launching, and we are looking for someone. Come for the interview. Literally, that's how my life began. So they came, they interviewed me. They flew from South Africa. It was a bunch of us. And then they're like, have you ever been, and I remember I had never been an editor before.
Of course not.
I didn't even know what
an editor would do.
So at the interview, so my friend coached me. He's like, anything they ask you, just say yes. And then, I think he told me something about who, what, when, editors, you always need, you need to always ask your subjects, those kind of questions. Yeah. He coached me for an hour, went for an interview the next day. Have you ever been an editor? Yes. Where? FIT. Of course, I've never been there. But some of these things is about confidence.
It's true.
So they said, okay, so we'll give you a try. That's how I got my first job.
That is amazing. Yeah. I'm gonna pause you there because I'm going to relate something back. Yeah. When I was moving back home, which was 2007. You had been editor, whatever. What I was doing then, I was moving back home, and I needed to figure out how
what's next.
Home,
what's the plan?
Exactly, sort of like you. So I did take a trip first, and your name was just everywhere in the fashion industry.
Oh my goodness!
Fashion, only talk to Connie. Only talk to Connie.
Wow!
You were so gracious. Wow! Gave me audience.
Yeah, I remember. I think you called me. Then we had a meeting.
We sat with David Beatty as well. You guys went through my book.
David Beatty.
And you're like, just call me when you get back. Wow. And I came back, and you made me hit the ground running, and I'm forever grateful to you for that.
Thank you. Wow!
So very relatable.
I'm getting shivers because even Emmanuel Jambo, I think, came back around the same time, the photographer, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. We were all a little young crew. Like you're saying, the industry was so infantile.
Yeah.
But you were ahead of us. So you paved the way for us. So thank you and we appreciate you.
True, thanks.
Go on.
So now Cosmopolitan, Kenya.
Kenya. And it's a brand new magazine.
Brand new. So now I'm living my best life, because now it was an interesting setup because all the photo shoots, the whole production team, photographers were in South Africa.
Yes.
So meaning any photo shoot we needed to do,
you have to import them or you have to go?
It was either I used to fly to South Africa or I used to send the clothes.
Oh.
Yeah, because they were still young and they didn't have an office here.
Yes.
So get this. So every 4 weeks I used to send clothes down. So one time I was now my colleague, another fashion editor calls me from SA. She's like, Connie, did you send the clothes? I'm like, yeah. So she's like,
they didn't get there.
well, we've been waiting for them for 3 days. I'm like, but I sent them. So, tracking number. I'm like, I sent the tracking numbers. She's like, well, we don't know where the clothes are. So between the clothes reaching the ground floor, being signed for, to the 10th floor where the office was, clothes disappeared.
Until today, we don't know where they are. Someone's wearing them. Someone wore them. And then
somebody had better be done with them because it's been 20 years there. But that was my first reality with learning to cope with crisis.
Yes.
In production, in fashion. And I'm sure even the team here can tell you, there's always a crisis.
Of course.
Either someone hasn't come, or the camera, I don't know what, or, a camera is broken, or still, there's always a crisis.
And there's a calm that you have to
maintain.
Of
yeah,
because
exactly.
You're the leader.
Exactly.
And you can't be in panic.
That's the thing. So I was just like, it became a whole case. I had to record a statement. it was a whole thing I'll never forget. But the things were never found. But, obviously, thank God we had insurance and all that, but still.
Now that was a whole,
So then I have so many styling stories. So another time we were doing a shoot. So everyone comes in the morning, you obviously give them, some water or something to drink. So I asked the model, are you hungry? She's like, no. Do you want anything to drink? No. So I kept asking her. So anyway, we're shooting in the sun at 2 p.m. with Baby BT. All of a sudden, she collapses.
Oh my God.
I'm like, holy shit, like what? She collapses and begins throwing up.
What?
It was so dramatic. So then I'm like, so obviously now we call an ambulance, we give her. So, and I was like, why didn't you eat? She's like, I didn't want to have a stomach.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
You
she
need
needed
to
keep
eat.
her stomach like flat.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. I was like, okay, models, please feed the models. Models, you need to eat. Water, hydrate.
Yes.
At least that. And, and fruits, you have to hydrate.
Yes.
So long story short, the dress was messed. Oh my God.
Okay.
So then my editor, Carol Mandy of True Love, was like, okay, Connie, what happened? Because now we were liable. Oh because the magazine, as a stylist, when you take clothes from a store, you have to sign them out.
Of course.
So
that's now an extra expense. I guess you had to pay for
so
it.
True Love, we had to pay, and then we had to meet each other half, and then I had to also contribute.
You had to personally,
and it wasn't cheap. So models eat, please.
Listen.
You need to eat.
Listen to the expert.
You need to eat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
You have to learn this on the job.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no book
that you're going to go and say, okay, when I model, there's so many life experiences. Like when you're on a shoot on a set, you have 50 people, maybe you're shooting a music video. Yeah. I remember one time a pair of ears, they just went missing. They were on the table. I literally turned. So right now I had to get a system with my assistants. Anything with accessories, we never used to unpack them. We used to take pictures of them. Now you have to find systems because things like earrings are very easy to pick and go with.
So Connie, what you were doing was creating the processes.
Oh, interesting that you say that. Yeah.
From scratch.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing you're benchmarking on.
No, I didn't have.
Yeah.
But I just had now after interesting. Back to Cosmos. So after a year, they closed down.
What happened?
Yeah, the first country for Cosmos to fail in the world, and that was not really a fail. It's just because it was half Kenyan content and half South African content.
That's not relatable.
And Kenyans, as Kenyans are very proud of who we are.
Yes.
So Kenyans are like, why can't these pages be
only
fully Kenyan content?
Yes.
So it we never used to sell. So my nice high-flying editor job ended.
No, I'm going to bring you back to this same topic.
Yeah.
Where international brands, international businesses think that they can just come here and set up shop and succeed. This market is not a joke.
Kenya is a very, it's a great market.
Yeah.
If you don't do your market study well,
it's a wrap.
And you hire the right people locally who understand, you can have your international team, but you have to have a local on the ground.
So specific and so correct.
Exactly.
You're gonna feel how many big brands have come and
exactly.
shop, right? Like Builders now is going.
I heard Builders is going.
Yeah. So it's don't come and just play with us.
So then I was sitting twiddling my thumbs. That job is gone.
What were you feeling distraught?
Of course, because this was this is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
So then they say God closes one door, opens another. Then I get a call from True Love magazine. Back then there used to be a Nation Center. Yeah. So I go in for the interview. I do it because they had an editor before, fashion editor, the first ever, I guess, in the whole of Kenya. Carol Wahome, I don't know if you remember.
Yes. So because True Love was there in the 80s.
Exactly. That's when it started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Around 90s.
90s.
Yeah. Okay. So then I had to I went for the interview, I passed, and that's how I got my job.
Awesome.
And that's how my name became synonymous in the media. And honestly, media has helped propel my name.
Same here.
And, over 10 years later, I still work in the media.
I know.
And that's how important media is.
It really is.
I mean, it may not be necessarily like, going to buy a magazine, but now I do work for the Business Daily.
Yeah. So
I just started in December. So they created a fashion column because they realized fashion is very integral in business in Kenya and the world. You know how like New York, you have your Financial Times is a fashion section and everything.
Yes.
So now I just started in December. So
that's amazing.
Thanks. So I have that. Then I have my.
But I feel like you are still writing.
Yes,
before that.
Sunday Nation.
Yes, Nation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before that, I did Standard for many years, and I
Yes.
dressed news anchor. So literally, my life has been in the media.
I can relate because I studied media makeup, and that's
where
I sat is
exactly.
in media makeup, and that's where I got so much PR for Suzie Beauty
Exactly.
because of the media people.
Oh,
that I
that
was
you
with.
knew, yeah,
So
that's
media
it.
is really important.
So media is amazing. It's just how you use it.
Exactly.
And it can really either enhance you or it can actually
Break you.
finish you.
Yes.
So you have to be very careful when you have a platform, even not necessarily media, but even when you're an influencer or have influence over other people, how you use
Because
that.
yes, everything's transformed now
exactly.
into social media, of course.
Exactly.
But still, traditional media is still a thing.
Exactly.
Social media is kind of more, but we'll get into that as well.
Yeah.
But so okay, True Love.
Yeah.
Now you are the editor.
Yeah. So I was there, and then I was the editor then. Then they brought in other magazines, through Media 24.
Yes.
Then
So
I was
there was
promoted to a
Drum.
group fashion editor. So there was
Yes.
Drum, there was Adam. Oh God, I can't even remember. Twende.
Twende,
So
yes.
then we had, other people coming in. We had Oyunga Pala, Jackson Biko.
Exactly. So this
Annabelle
beautiful
Onyango.
woman
I mean, it was
would
amazing.
give me job after job.
Yeah.
Like we were, how beautiful were those sets?
Yeah.
Just me, you,
Yeah,
Annabelle,
yeah.
Emmanuel,
It was-
like just
it
doing
was
our thing,
amazing.
and it was such a small, cute little
It was
industry.
amazing. But,
those days are really amazing. Like in my memory.
and I'm glad, and it's amazing to see how far the industry has come now. It's so exciting.
I know.
So after True Love,
So you are the group editor of all
the magazines,
and then each magazine had its own editor, right?
And then I woke up one day, I was like, okay, I'm bored.
What am I doing?
Yeah, I'm bored because it was no longer challenging.
And it's
because now I had trained people, so I had every magazine had a stylist and everything. I'm like, I need a new challenge.
Just managing from far.
So I told my dad, I'm like, okay, I need to do something. He's like, so I'm like, I want to go and do my master's. So I moved to Milan.
I knew it. There was a master's and there was Milan.
Yes, so I went and I did my master's in fashion styling.
Amazing.
Thanks. So that was another amazing experience.
Of course.
Because then I just took myself to there's a career office, and I'm like, I want to do, are there any internship opportunities? They're like, yes, Milan Fashion Week. That was it. So I did Milan Fashion Week. Oh my God,
Connie.
backstage, it was a dream.
So you guys do realize that there's a master's in fashion styling. Like that's how deep she has gone into like the entire fashion everything.
Wait,
like,
I'm thinking about my PhD now.
Listen, Dr. Connie.
That's the next
Doctor
thing.
of fashion.
No, but I guess when you love what you do, you want to do as much as possible as you can. Yeah.
And you're so the definition of that.
Well, yeah.
Incredible.
Thanks.
Go on.
So then I did my master's. Lived in Milan, did fashion weeks, did an internship, and then, the same thing. So now, again, my papers, you only have like 1 year, for internship, then papers. So my mom calls me, she's like, your dad's coming to see you. I was like, no, not again.
From school again.
No. So I called my sis. This time she was in Kenya. I'm like, Dad is coming. She's like, just stop packing your bags. And literally, I just started packing my bag. So when he came, it was not even a conversation. I was like, okay,
held his hand and you walked
so
to
then
the
I was just like, but I kept telling him, but what am I going to go and do back in Kenya? Because he's like, you will figure it out. He's like, you're going to be a teacher. When you're young and you're told you're going to be a teacher, that sounds so boring.
That's not
I'm
a
like,
good thing.
ew, Daddy, who wants to be a teacher?
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to be a teacher. I was like, man. So back home, I come back to Kenya. Then I just sit down. So everyone is like, okay, are you going to go back and work at True Love? And I was like, no, I want to do my own thing.
Yes.
You being an entrepreneur, you understand.
Yes.
It's great to be employed because you learn.
You learn.
Yeah, but then I was like, I want to do my own thing.
Because you could at this point,
Exactly.
for sure.
So I created my company, Connie Styling Management, which is
Styling
styling management. Yeah.
And I came to your first office, I think.
Yes, I've had many offices. I've had so many
Yeah.
offices. And I've had great people who've worked with the team, who've come and left, and more who come. It's been great transitions. And
so
wow,
as the management company, so you just consult in
we
styling?
we do a lot.
Yeah.
We do, obviously now the press work that we do for Sunday Nation Business Daily. We do one-on-one styling. I do people's, especially during the pandemic, or rather, I know it's still on, but I did a lot of wardrobes, arranging people's wardrobes, because people are at home and like, you know what?
It's
actually,
time to do this.
I've had this since I was in college, and you're like the lady who's over 40. You're like, no, you can't be having your jeans from campus. We need to get rid of these things.
Let's do that, yeah.
So we do that.
Or even, I mean, like old stuff, transformable.
Exactly, like, upcycling, recycling.
Yeah.
And then what my dad had told me many years ago came true, because one day I was just sitting. So now this is as I'm setting up my business and, doing small, so I also continue to consult for True Love. Yeah. Because I had such a great relationship with them. And what I always tell young people, never burn your bridges.
Please don't.
Till today, all the people I've worked with ever, if I call New York, I have people I can call. In Milan, I can, I can always go back all over the world.
Actually, all over Africa.
Yeah, and the world. I can always fly. Like if I want to go for Milan, I'll just call my school. I'm like, listen, I need to go Fashion Week. I know who to call.
Nice.
So, it's very important. Yeah. And especially now, just don't think by blocking your ex-boss off social media, you're done.
No.
Because you'll need a reference.
Exactly.
You'll need some letter or something.
Or you have to leave that gap in your resume and explain
and explain why it's a gap.
Yeah.
So don't block your former employers or, just be nice.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
Also,
doing stuff with ethics and authenticity is also important.
Exactly.
And so I wanted to ask you, you went from employment into entrepreneurship.
Self-employment,
What was that like?
Very different.
It's different.
Employment on the 29th, your count.
Entrepreneurship is very special, right? Like
let me tell you, there's entrepreneurship, then there's creative entrepreneurship.
Yes, I agree.
Those are two different things. Entrepreneur, you can be selling, I don't know, lorries or whatever.
Yeah.
Creative entrepreneurship, you have to go and justify as a photographer why I need this fee for this video, to shoot for you 5 TikToks or whatever. It's all about the creative economy, and you have to justify why the client is paying you this amount for. They're like, see, I'll
just use my phone.
My phone. Why am I even paying you?
My 12-year-old surely does TikToks.
So it's creative entrepreneurship. It's amazing, but you have to be very dedicated.
Yeah.
And I was with some young designers earlier this week, and they're saying, Connie, how have you done it? Because one of them was like, 1 year in, I'm done. I'm like, no, you can't. I told her, you're just starting.
No, but also to add to your amazingness is how you've just transitioned from this, to
keep evolving.
And you've just been evolving, and you're keeping current.
That's what I'm saying. You have to keep evolving. Yeah. So, So remember that time when I was in college, I'd finished and my dad said, you're going to be a teacher one day.
Yes.
So one day I'm in my office, we're planning a photo shoot, I get a call. My friend is Ogake.
Yes.
The designer, that time she had just started University of Nairobi teaching. She's like, can you come for a meeting tomorrow? I'm like, where? University of Nairobi. I'm like, why? Or the dean wants to meet you. I'm like, for what? We're looking for teachers. I was like, I don't think you have the right number. Because then she's like, just come. So I went.
Wow.
So it wasn't even an interview. They just talked. They're like, there are not many people with masters in fashion in Kenya. Of course. Can you come and teach? So I told them, no.
I don't think there's anyone.
Yeah, I told them, no, I'm not interested. So I told them, thanks, but no thanks. So I went home. So then I called my dad. I'm like, hey, Daddy,
so funny.
You know what happened today? I went for... He said, what did you say?
Call them back.
He said, you are going back tomorrow at 8 a.m. You sit outside that dean, wait for the dean to come and tell him you'll do. So I couldn't believe it because, my dad is a very relaxed guy.
Yeah.
But for this, I told my mom, she's like, do what your father said. So I had to go back the next day. So at 8 a.m. I went and sat waiting in the reception.
Remember me from yesterday?
So he came. So when he walked in, he's like, "Oh, Miss Alwat, you're back." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So my dad has said I have to teach."
Did you really say that?
No, I didn't say that, but in my head, I was just like, "I've reconsidered."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You made the right choice." He's like, you'll never regret this.
Wow.
So I taught at the University of Nairobi, marketing, fashion.
This was what year?
I can't even remember. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I taught
I bumped into you around then and you're like,
exactly.
I have a course. I'm like,
yeah, what? Yeah.
I can't keep
So I
up
created
with you.
a whole fashion market. I created all that. So
Because who else would do that? Connie? Okay.
so as I'm sitting in UN living my best life, who calls? USIU.
Wow. To poach you.
Yeah, they're like, not only to poach, because at least UN
You
was
can
part-time.
do
Yeah, I could do
both.
it. So they're like, okay, School of Cinematics. They're like, okay, the School of Cinematics at USIU is like what? It's 5 years old. It's really young. So they're like, obviously, when you're in production, we've taken care of everything. We have cameras and everything, but the most important thing is dressing the actors.
Yeah.
So they're like, we want you to create a course, costume and makeup for film. The first in East Africa, create it and come and teach it. I told them, ha ha ha. I was like, oh, this was in December. It was like 2 days to Christmas. They're like, when do I start next year? They're like, yeah, January 8th. I'm like, what do you mean January 8th?
Not 22, 21.
The other year, I had
21,
7
right?
days to create a course. I was like, I just told them, I don't think this is possible.
And it was.
Again, I told my dad. He's like, oh, great.
Do it.
He's like, you're going to have to do it. That Christmas, I barely slept. Because you're researching. I was like,
it's a big
costume and makeup
deal.
for film. I'm like, okay, I know about styling, but styling for film, I mean, it's a whole,
Yes.
because you have to teach them about the history
So
of
did
film.
you, for me, makeup artistry for film, I never got, it's such its own animal. I wouldn't even go there. I stuck to my other stuff. And so did you have to talk to the...
Yeah, so I did it. So my team, so what I did is I created, so I literally put in, budgeting. Budgeting is very important in film, especially if a production, you can't under budget. So all my friends in the industry, I'm like, okay, help me create this, so everyone was helping me. So makeup, special effects. I got a friend of mine does special effects. Nice. So she was, then I got I think there's a makeup artist, then a hairstylist.
Yeah,
I was just getting people, I was just getting people to then elements of design principles,
Networks, again.
Networks.
Right? Just pulling
So
from...
2.5, this is, I've taught how many classes now? 1, 2, 3, this is my 4th class, because I teach the program once a year in the spring. So, yeah. So here I'm at USIU.
I'm so proud of you. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's...
And then do you still do University of Maryland?
No, I couldn't because it was getting
too much.
Yeah. And then remember, I'm still running my business.
Yes.
So I have a team, I have work. So now...
And then you're kind of just one person.
No,
you're one human being.
No, I'm one human being, but then my team are amazing.
Yeah.
They're really supportive.
Nice.
So then the pandemic hit.
What did that do?
Oh my gosh. That was the hardest time of my life.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, stay home, stay safe, no physical, and all of my things, as you know, you have to...
Physical.
Yeah. So I didn't work.
I couldn't do a shoot online.
I didn't work for 11 months. So 11, those were the hardest time of my life. 11 months I didn't work.
So what were you doing?
I was busy
studying,
thinking and creating.
Yeah.
What next?
Yeah.
Now,
I think a lot of us.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I figured out what am I going to do? So I created new projects, and hence the fashion branch.
Is that was a pandemic baby?
That's a pandemic baby.
Please tell us all about that because it's such a phenomenon.
Thank you.
By the time I was talking to you a few weeks ago, I thought you had done it for 6 years.
No. I just began it last year.
A third one or something crazy.
I've only done 4 editions. Yeah.
So
because now when I was at home, I'm like with the pandemic, and I used to call my friends, photographers, everyone's at home.
Yeah.
Makeup artists here, everyone's at home and really frustrated. They're like, rent is due. I was like, how can I create a project where I bring many people together, creatives, and everyone makes money and it's sustainable.
Yeah.
So I worked on, I researched a lot, and then I saw Ralph Lauren has this thing where he does fashion events in restaurants, as people are having, dinner or brunch. And it's very simple, no runway. It's just a very simple concept, and it's more of a lifestyle and enjoy. Wow. I was like, why don't we do that in Kenya?
Fantastic.
So I spoke to, the amazing Social House team. Shout out Social House. I pitched to, Juliet, the team, Sam and everyone else, and they loved the concept. And our first brunch we had was last year in April. It's almost going to be a year.
Wow.
And we did it, and I was, I was also not sure what to expect, but I was like, what? If you don't believe in yourself, no one will believe in your idea.
No one else will.
Yeah, so I did it. It worked, and the designers sold because it's a fashion show.
You buy.
There's a branch, and then there's a pop-up. There's a lot going on at the same time.
Perfect.
And the designers, so it was Deepa, Dosaja, Organato, Zanta. Thank you guys for believing in what I was doing, because even they had never heard of this. Yeah. But they're like, Connie, whatever you say, we're going to do.
Let's go.
And they made amazing sales. And from then, we did edition 2. Then,
so how often? I mean, how long
It
after?
was it was quarterly now.
Quarterly.
Yeah.
I love
And
these
by fourth
stories.
edition sold out again. That was in December.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So the next one is April?
So yeah,
Or-
we like to start later in the year, April, May. So
Yeah.
that's when we're probably going to start.
Okay, so I book
Yeah,
now.
yeah, book now. Book now, yeah. So you know, and
So that is that is the newest.
and there's more babies coming
popping.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you. Okay,
Oh,
what
thank
is
you.
there a more that you want to you can put
no,
on the table?
just
We just watch
keep
the
it
space.
locked. Keep it locked.
We keep it locked.
Yeah, keep it locked.
Connie,
Yeah.
you inspire beyond,
Oh my gosh.
and you're my BFF for a reason.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Wow.
Look, this is so amazing.
Oh, I'm
Like,
actually
you have
crying.
done- oh my gosh.
Oh,
you're
I'm
gonna make
actually
me cry.
crying.
You're so cute.
Oh my gosh.
No, Connie, you've like transformed the Kenyan fashion industry. This
Yeah.
is a fact.
Wow.
You own a few seats
Okay, I'm
in the
actually
Hall
crying,
of Fame.
so I need some tissue.
You know this.
I actually need some tissue.
Let's get her-
I think it's because of how far
I think,
the journey has
talking
been.
the story
Yeah,
has
that's
made
when you
has made
realize.
you realize how much amazing stuff you've done.
Oh my gosh.
No, you've done way too much. And I know it's not
Yeah.
just Kenya that's appreciating
Yeah,
your
yeah.
amazingness.
Thank you.
And you guys will just keep watching this space
Yeah,
because this is it's I say I think I'm just at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think you have
Yeah.
still so much more to give.
Even
Even if your
yeah.
plate has your
Yeah.
bucket is so full and what you've offered is so much,
Wow.
but then I think we still need more.
there's more. There's so much
and
more.
I know you have more to give. And I
Yeah,
know you
like
want
today
to.
I was just thinking, okay, I need to do this, because you know I like to start my day early in the morning.
Are you those?
Yeah, so for 30 I'm out. Yeah, for 15 you'll find me.
Okay,
awake.
but the birds
Yeah.
haven't woken up.
No, that's when you wake up, because that's when you
Okay.
can think.
Yeah?
So I wake up, I pray, and I plan, because I'm a morning person. So I do a lot of planning and and creation and all in the morning between 4:15 to 6 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And then I head to the gym, then come back. Then now, by the time the team are logging in, because now we are working remotely.
Yeah.
Actually, we've been doing that since the pandemic began, and so far
It's still working.
it works.
for
So you
right?
know, guys in
I like
pajamas.
that opened people's minds.
Yeah.
You don't have to physically.
Yeah, because now you have my team guys are in their pajamas and all,
Yeah.
but they actually really work.
It's about producing.
That's all I'm like.
Yeah.
That's all I care. Yeah. So by the time they're logging in, because we normally have meetings at 8:45 or 9, like I've already done maybe 2 hours of work, because I need time to just think.
And by yourself.
Yes,
Yeah?
and I don't want to call or anything. So that's why I tell people 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. That's the time.
Yeah.
So that's
I also
they say
work
that's
best in my own
CEO's time.
space.
Apparently that's CEO's time.
it?
Those
Is
are-
that a
yeah,
thing? Okay.
yeah. So
Nice.
there's this thing. I think there's a book, something about 5 a.m. The 5 a.m.
Yeah,
club. The 5 a.m.
yes,
club.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
so I feel like there's a hint of something that you can give us, like
No,
and you
Nope. Nope.
da-
no. Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watch. Where are we watching? Where is
Just
everyone
keep it-
finding you?
Please
Where's-
just keep
what's your
following me.
credentials?
Instagram at Connie Watch. That's
Connie
CONNIE ALUOCH.
Not O.
Not O, ALUOCH. Twitter is the same, Connie Watch. Facebook, our company is Connie Watch Styling Management. So once you Google Connie Watch, you'll find us. And our website is www.connielwatch.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what God has in store for me
I
and all of us this year.
Can't wait to
oh,
see
wow.
what else is
Yeah.
going to go on, because I know
Gosh.
it will be amazing.
Yeah.
We've talked about our
Yeah.
collabos. That is happening this year.
It better.
For sure. It's
Yeah.
not even an option.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for you.
Thank you.
And please keep the positivity, keep the
Yeah,
energy,
the spirit
keep
up.
the spirit,
Yeah.
and keep us beautiful and
Yeah.
fashiony
Oh,
and
wow.
fashion forward, and keep bringing
Oh
it
my
here. You brought so
gosh.
much to us.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of people don't
Yeah.
don't have the fortitude, the grace, the
yeah.
intelligence
Yeah.
to give us. Like,
Oh, wow.
This is Africa is not the next frontier; it is the frontier.
This is now.
Everyone is watching
Yeah,
us.
everyone and yeah,
We
and
play on
everyone is
global
and
stages.
everyone is. There's actually there's an article in Vogue about this. Just came out, I think, on LinkedIn. I saw it 2 days ago about this writer in London talking about how fashion and African music are really blending in, and how all these Burna Boy and all these musicians are being influenced by the designers and what they wear, and it's affecting. I mean, it's Africa
Like
is
we're
really,
the next Asia, like K-pop
yeah.
and K-beauty and all that.
Yeah, yeah,
this
exactly.
Is, like,
This is
look,
us.
This is us.
This
This
is
is
us.
it.
It's
A beauty
amazing.
and it's a fashion
It's so
and
amazing.
it's a music.
Yeah.
Oh,
goodness.
so much for
Wow.
your audience and
Yeah.
for your amazingness, and
Yeah.
please keep doing it.
Yeah.
And everyone, look out, Connie I'll watch. So much more to give, so much more
Cheers.
to offer.
Cool.
And let's do this, babe. Awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching
you.
this new amazing episode of the Suzie Wokabi podcast. I hope you guys are as touched as I am and as this lovely one is.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Bye. Mwah.
I can't believe I